Well, first things first, right off the bat, I want it to be known that this is Rant, so the amount of sources will be limited or non-existent. Also, I'd like to point out the fact that I have caught a cold and I am feeling under the weather. So, normally when I rant, I get very exuberant and loud, but that probably will not happen this time. And I do say probably. Also, another point of note is that while going through this video, while listening to it, keep in mind that I have no issue with Theryn overall as an individual. I just have issue with this particular topic. If you are subscribed to her, do not view this as an affront to her as an individual or affront to her in regards to her political opinions. Like I said, it's just this one particular thing that is a pet peeve of mine that I need to point out. With that being said, let's move on. A while back during a live stream, about a month ago to the day, actually, it was back in November the 5th, and today is December the 5th while recording this, so it'd be exactly a month. Theryn Mayer, a well-known trans YouTuber that some would say belongs to the skeptic community, verbally went after Roaming Millennial, another member of YouTube, very popular, and also considered a member of the skeptic community as well, but that's a topic for another time. Anyway, she went after her for not being hard on Richard Spencer during her interview of him, respectively. However, at the time, I didn't think much of it and dusted it under the rug as just something that Theryn had an issue with, which, quite frankly, I couldn't give a shit less at the end of the day, but lo and behold, time passes, and in my Twitter feed, I see Roaming responding to Theryn in the form of a quote tweet, and this is verbatim. Quote, "Do you think yelling at a prominent alt-right figure does anything at all to change their minds or convince people that they're wrong? Or is it your emotions getting the better of you and a way to signal virtue?" Now, with that, I see absolutely nothing wrong with what you said. It actually makes a lot of sense, because if you are looking to change a person's opinion, although in that regard, that is highly unlikely that you are going to change a person's political or social opinion. It does happen, but it's very rare. However, what it does do in this situation is it presents their ideas to an audience. Now, if she was debating him, the best way to have gone about it isn't to personally attack him based solely upon not necessarily the concept of him being a proclaimed white nationalist. That is not the best way to go about the argument, because you automatically put him on the defense. But, saying my piece, let's move on. Roaming replied to Theryn, Theryn replied to Roaming, once again, this is verbatim: "Have a seance with the spirit of Hitler and give him a nice little puff interview as well." Okay, now further down you can see that Theryn claims that this is a joke, which in that regard, yeah, obviously it's a joke. Nobody believes that you're actually going to have, Roaming is going to have a fucking seance with Hitler. But you're referencing Spencer clearly in this, and this can be deduced with little to no brain power. Very obviously you're referencing her interview with Richard Spencer. So, okay, it's a joke. Made a month after a live stream where you exclaimed your grievances on the issues already. And 7 months after the original interview happened. And also you were replying to this. Okay, it was a joke. A fucking horrible one. Don't quit your fucking day job. But I will let you have that as a joke, because jokes are subjective. Just because it's a joke doesn't mean that it's funny. But, now if this had been her asking if she could, in Roaming, by the way, if this had been Roaming asking if she should interview another member of the alt-right, or asking who in the alt-right she should interview next, I'd give you a little leeway. But since that's not the case, it just seems like out of the blue you're like, oh, well, I see you're looking for ideas for a new video. Let me reference that interview that I had such an issue with from 7 months ago, that I brought up, a month ago in a live stream because it bothers me so much. Obviously, it lives rent-free in your head. Now, on to a more pressing matter. It seems to be impossible to drill into your thick fucking skull, or just about anyone for that matter that gets incredibly perturbed when this topic is brought up. An interview isn't a fucking debate. That is very important that you remember that. An interview is when you're interviewing somebody and allowing them to express your opinions. If in the case if you are working for a news organization, you might interview Richard Spencer outside of, the street where he can get hit, so that he's allowed to express his legitimately stupid ideas, and then you can put them in a paper, either to counter them with your own arguments or to have his ideas put out to the populace. What Rowling did was reveal Spencer's incredibly idiotic and backwards thought processes and thought in general to her 200,000 plus subscribers. Now, will some of them go on to support him? Sure, why the fuck not? But for the sake of argument, we'll say that 90% of her followers that saw the man as incredibly stupid and malignant now has more ammunition to debate his ideas and the ideas of the alt-right in general. Because of this debate, because his ideas were put forward. Once again, just because the ideas were put forward doesn't mean that people agree with them. People say dumb shit all the time. You should know this. You deal with SJWs. It should be a well-known fact that you have. But the interview is a tantamount to why there is free speech. Bad ideas are revealed through public discourse. Now, if Rowling had been hostile and confrontational, as you wish her to have been, Spencer probably wouldn't have gotten the chance to fully reveal himself as the mentally absent buffoon that he is to so many people. Also, conversely, he would have been a lot more defensive and a lot more reserved. With that being said, he would have been, I do believe, this is obviously conjecture because it didn't happen and there's no way to prove this, but he probably wouldn't have been as extreme as he actually is. But, that being said, if that had been the case and she had been hostile, I dare say it would push more people to his side because people will be like, oh, you brought this guy on to interview him, but now you're attacking him? What a fucking cunt. That's just, like I said, there's a difference between interview and debate. That just makes my head hurt when I think of shit like this. But the point is, on to another note. Bitching about how she did the interview is very childish of you, seeing as you are just as capable to do your own interview and debate him as you see fit. Now, I do realize that you have somewhere in the realm of 44,000, 45,000 subscribers, and Rowling has over 200,000. I do realize that there is disparity between the two numbers. However, the more exposure that he gets, the better. And nobody is going to debate him or interview him the same as, well, say for the sake of argument, you or Rowling. But, no. You'd rather piss and moan about Rowling because, I don't know, you like stirring up drama? I don't know. Quite frankly, drama to me is just cancer. I avoid the shit like the fucking plague. But, quite frankly, I find this whole issue with you to be purely focused on confrontation at every chance, with no chance in the foreseeable future for you to try your hand at it yourself. You know the saying, if you want something done, do it yourself. But until then, keep making childish, unfunny jabs on Twitter, because that'll prove your fucking point. Now, as I get ready to wrap this up and I cool down a bit, I want it to be known that I have no issue with Theryn whatsoever. This situation, while I find it dumb, doesn't speak to her value as a person or YouTuber for that matter. I'm just really sick of something that happened 7 months ago being brought up in unrelated areas for what seems to be the sole purpose of a personal joke or stirring up drama. People that stir the shit pot should have to lick the spoon, so to speak. So, Theryn, Instead of being a child, host Spencer yourself. While you may not have roaming sub count, the more his views are heard, the more people will dislike him. So I implore you to reach out regardless of your disdain for the man. And also, until you do that, you do not have grounds to whine. Alright, I'm done now. And I do realize that this isn't my typical response video, or response video at all for that matter, but I just felt like something needed to be said, and I haven't done a proper rant in a while. So with that, I will be seeing you guys all on Thursday. Well, actually, I'll be having a live stream on Wednesday, which is going to try to do that every week now. So every Wednesday, sometime between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m., the live stream will start, and I'll have one person on, and we'll talk about it. It doesn't even have to be politics. It can be anything. As a matter of fact, the topic of this Wednesday is going to be drug issues and drugs in general, and probably some other stupid shit. But if you feel compelled to do so, leave a like and subscribe. Don't hate Theryn for this. It's a dumb thing to hate a person for. Don't be rude to her for this because of this. It's a dumb reason to be rude to a person. You can disagree with her all you want. Don't be rude. Don't be mean. Be civilized. And if you feel the need to debate her, do so without any name calling. But with that, I am done. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and or night. And we'll see you glorious cunts Thursday.